Hi, welcome back to your high-level revision for your mock exams, your midterm exams, part 3. So in this video we're going to be looking at taxes. What happens to those linear equations if the government imposes taxes? Okay, so what actually happens when the government introduces a tax? Well, first of all, when the government introduces an indirect tax, okay, that's all you're going to be asked to consider indirect taxes. So this is the tax on people's spending. It effectively means that the business is being a tax collector for the government. So if the government adds a €5 tax on whatever it's selling, this will need to be given to the government by the supplier. Okay, so the government, in this case a shoe shop, puts a tax on their shoes of €5 per unit, for example. Then whatever they sell the shoes for, they have to give the government €5. So the money goes to the government. Okay, so therefore now the consumer has one price and the producer effectively has another price, because even though the consumer might pay the shop €10, the shop has to then give the government €5 of that. Okay, likewise, if the customer gave the shop €20, because it's a unit tax, the shop would have to give the government €5. Okay, so effectively the shop is getting €5 less than the consumer is paying. So therefore we've got two different prices going on. So this changes our linear equation slightly. So where it originally was, this is our original ones we've been working with in parts 1 and part 2. If the government puts a tax of €3 onto this product, the producer and the consumer, the customer, has different prices. So therefore we can't stick with just having P there, because the price the producer gets and the price the customer pays are two different things. So we need to change how we write this slightly. So for the quantity demanded, this is the price that the consumer pays, so we've changed that to PC, so price for consumer. And for quantity supplied, this is the price that the producers actually take home, okay, that they receive, so the producer price. So how does this change working out what the new equilibrium price is? Okay, so now we've got these formulas, but again we need to have the same setup on both sides of our equation. So we need to change PP to PC in our equation. Okay, so we know that because there's a tax of €3, okay, the producer's price is going to be €3 less than the customer pays them. Okay, so if the tax was €10, this figure would be 10. If the tax was €20, this figure would be 20. If the tax was €1, this figure would be 1. Okay, so let's look at how this looks in the equations below. So we again have to balance this formula. So we start off and look at what we need to do. So we're going to add, well, first of all, we're going to change the formula. So instead of PP being there, we're going to change it to PC minus 3, because that's going to allow us to balance it. If it was PP there, we wouldn't be able to balance it. Okay, so we change a PP to PC so we can work the rest out. So now we've done that, we move down to, we add the 30 to both sides, so 130 leaves the 2PC3. Then we multiply the 2 by the minus 3, so 2 times minus 3, so we've got the minus 6, so we've got rid of the brackets there. Okay, and then we add this 6 to either side, so we can get rid of this 6 and it goes on to there. So we've got 136 now, minus 2PC equals 2PC. Now we need to get these PCs are all on one side, so we're going to add 2 PCs to either side to get rid of this PC, which gives us 136 equals 4 PC. So then finally we have to divide by 4 to leave the PC. So PC equals 136 divided by 4 equals 34 euros. Okay, so that is the new equilibrium price, okay, for the consumer. Okay, if we click onto the next slide, we have the new consumer price equilibrium of 34 euros. So how do we work out what the producer price is? What figure does the producer have? We simply use this formula here, PP equal PC minus 3. So we know what PC is now because we've just worked it out. It's 34 euros. So all we have to do is 34 minus 3, and then we've got the producer price, which is 31 euros. Okay, so remember, and we can double check, the tax is 3, so there's a difference of 3 euros in there. So we know that the customer will give the shop 34 euros, and then the shop, the retailer, the business, needs to give the government 3 euros of that, so hence it's minus 3. So the price that the business actually receives and gets to keep is 31, even though the customer pays 34. Okay, so how does that change the equilibrium quantity? So let's take a look at that, because we need to, the equilibrium quantity is going to change now as well. So we simply, now with our new form equations, 100 minus 2PC, we know what the equilibrium price is, so we just put the 34 into that equation to find the 32 litres. So 100 minus 2 times 34, okay. That's wrong, so we just need to change that to 68, okay, which we can see minus 100 minus 68 equals 32 litres, okay. And again, we can work it out for quantity supplied just to make sure we've got it right. So in that case, I would have probably got the wrong answer, okay. But if I'd have worked out the supply, I would have realised that these two answers were not the same, and I could have done something about it. So it's always good to work out both just to make absolutely sure. So again, in this case, we know from the previous slide that the producer price at equilibrium is 31 euros. So we just plug that into the formula. So 2 times 31 equals 62, minus 30 plus 62 equals 32 litres. They're both the same, all good. So how does this tax affect consumers and the producers differently? So we need to work out the incidence of tax. So effectively, the burden of tax. So how much of the tax does the consumer have to pay, and how much does the producer have to pay? So we've got all the information to figure this out. So the original price was 32.5 euros. Then the government put the €3 tax on it. The new price that the customers paid was 34 euros. We therefore know that they pay 1.5 euros more. Okay, so with this 1.5 euros more, they pay. So now we can work out what the percentage of the tax burden is. So we know that the original tax was 3 euros, as we can see there. So the incidence of tax, or the consumer share of the burden of that tax, is 1.5 divided by 3, so they have to pay 50% of the tax. Okay, so we know now that if they pay 50% of the tax, the producers have to pay 50% as well. But let's just check that. So again, the original price was 32.5 for the producers. Their new price is 31. So we know the tax was 3 euros. So 1.5 divided by 3. Yeah, it works out at 50%. Okay, so remember, you can rewind this and listen to me again and look at what's going on in the slides. The final thing for this part of the revision is to look at working out how much the total tax revenue would be for the government. This is easy peasy, just a simple multiplication. We know that the equilibrium quantity is 32 litres, okay, and we simply multiply that by the tax of 3 euros. Okay, so 32 times by 3 equals 96 euros of tax revenue. Dead simple. Okay, join me in the next one when we're going to continue with tax, but we're going to look at consumer surplus and producer surplus and deadweight loss, and how we calculate that from all the information we've got already. Okay, see you in the next part.